Last night, Spurs fans, Victor Wembanyama was ejected from an NBA game for the first time in his career because of the people's elbow he gave Naz Reid. Was it justified? And should he be suspended for game number 5? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans, and probably some Timberwolves fans as well? Welcome to TSR Sports, and what a tough loss for the Spurs last night, and a frustrating one as they had the lead in the fourth quarter and gave it away. Of course, the talk of the town right now is the Wemby elbow to Naz Reid. Should he be suspended? Let's go ahead and break down what happened last night, and I'll give my 2 cents on was it justified, because some fans are saying it was, but also should he be suspended? Let's get to the elbow. Wemby right here getting a rebound. I'll break down this play a little bit more. As you see, he's getting a rebound. He actually gets hit in the head by Jaden McDaniels, swinging his arm down, also going for the rebound. No call. Okay? As Wemby's turning, Jaden McDaniels, not done yet, then grabs Wemby's arm as he's trying to pivot. Now, Wemby at this point, I think, is pretty darn frustrated and starts his motion for the elbow. Just look at his face. He does not look too happy. There's Jaden McDaniels grabbing his arm. And then here comes the people's elbow. Poof! Naz Reid down. 1, 2, 3, count to 10, done, over. First off, this is not justified. For the Spurs fans saying because of the way that he's been beat up throughout the playoffs, no, this is not justified. Sorry, we'll have to agree to disagree there. I do think this elbow was a frustration foul, frustration retaliation, but you can't do that despite all the nonsense we've been seeing in the playoffs and in the series versus Wemby. Stuff like this. And I know some are going to say, it's TSR, this is just minor. Wemby with the block on Ant, and Ant's like, well, wait, hold on. You ain't going anywhere, and grabs his jersey. There was no call here. And maybe you could say TSR is a ticky-tack foul, but it's a competitive advantage. You're trying to get down in transition, and somebody's grabbing your jersey. And the thing is, Spurs fans, you know as well as I do that have been watching the Spurs all year, this happens a lot. Wemby's jersey's constantly getting untucked because it's getting grabbed left and right to stop him in transition, to stop him from getting a rebound. Happens all the time. He's getting grabbed, getting pushed, whatever, and it's not getting called. And I understand there's physical play. Bodying somebody up, keeping them out of their space, etc. Hard fouls when they're driving the paint trying to get a layup or dunk to stop the point and give them a hard foul. Not a flagrant foul, but a hard foul. But then there's just crossing the line. And I do think the refs let defenders cross the line a lot versus Wemby. And for the record, I know some people are going to type this in the chat or in the comments. I know he falls on his own sometimes. I'm not oblivious to that. He can be a giraffe out there. He's 7'5". He got giant feet. Sometimes he falls over said feet and he goes down. But in that play we saw, he was fouled not once, but twice before the elbow. And that's generally been the playoffs. That's generally been the season. That's generally been his career. He gets hit a lot and there's no foul. I don't remember the game. Maybe you do. There was a game, I want to say it was against Portland, where he's driving in the paint and literally takes a palm strike to the face on his nose. His nose is beat red like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because he just got kung-pao right in the face. No foul. And listen, I don't want him to get the SGA treatment. That's not what I'm asking for. I don't want him to get, a little touch. Whoop, you breathed on me. You're going to the line for 2. I don't want that. But he does need to be protected, as Mitch Johnson said last night in his postgame. At some stage, he should be protected, and if not, he's going to have to protect himself. I think that elbow we saw last night was accumulation of everything that's happened since day one of entering the NBA, where he's constantly getting grabbed, pushed, etc. And finally, it culminated right there to a point that he swung and threw that elbow at Naz Reid. We know Wemby's not a dirty player. This is not something we see Wemby do on the regular, trying to hit players, etc. This was just the last 3 years coming to a head, and it exploded last night on Naz Reid's face, neck, whatever. As far as should he be suspended, this is his first ejection in his career. He has no history, as I just said, of being dirty. He's not Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort. He's not in that line. So, no, I don't think he should be suspended. However, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned the NBA is going to see things differently. When we take a look at the history with elbows, it has not worked out good for the player throwing the people's elbow. You see, and by the way, isn't it kind of weird that they have Ron Artest on here twice? One as Ron Artest when he was with the Kings, and then as Metta World Peace when he was with the Lakers. You see Draymond Green, by the way, somebody I just mentioned on here twice. And if you don't see it, Manu's on there for eating an elbow in the 2006 playoffs from Ron Artest. What I'm trying to say here is the history of throwing an elbow has not worked out good for the player throwing the elbow, but Wemmy's also not in the same league, so to speak, as players like Ron Artest or Draymond Green. But seeing this from the Spurs fan page does have me concerned. The NBA is going to see this different. And my gut is telling me, Spurs fans, and I hope I'm wrong, that he's going to get suspended tomorrow. The NBA's going to look to send a message or whatever, like you can't do this in the playoffs. And it's going to suck for Spurs fans because the game's, not just because our guy's not playing, but the game's in San Antonio and he might not be there. I sincerely, of course, hope he's not suspended. And, I got to think, I saw some Wolves fans say this as well, to your credit, and I give you credit for this. If you are a Wolves fan watching this video, some of you have said, I don't want him suspended because we don't want an excuse. Kudos to you. You're right. Because there's going to be, not just Spurs fans, but any fan base, if one of their players is out and they lose the game, they're going to point to that and say, well, we would have won if. And if you're a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, you don't want that we would have won if. Because you might already be seeing now game 4. Well, we would have won if Wemby was in there. You know what? The Spurs should have closed that game out and they didn't. Wemby or not, they had the lead. They had one job to do and they blew it. Again, versus Minnesota for the upteenth time this freaking season. This video is going to go up at about 11 a.m. my time in Eastern and Connecticut. So by the time you watch this, maybe this has already been decided. I don't know. I believe the decision will be laid down probably in a few hours from this video's debut. I'm really nervous about this because we clearly need him. I will give credit to Luke Kornet for showing up last night when we needed him. Props to him. But right now, I don't want to segue off the video too much of the main topic. But man, De'Aaron Fox, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, where are you? You're the vets on the team. Some of you have playoff experience, and so far, you have not shown up. We need you guys to step up. Because right now, it's our young lions, your Castles, your Harpers that are stepping up. You guys so far are underperforming. And I'll certainly talk about that more in another video. All right. Drop a comment down below. Do you actually think it was justified? Do you think he'll get suspended? I'm very curious where the committee is going to lay on this. I'm also very curious where Timberwolves fans are going to lay on this. If you're watching it, Timberwolves fans, are you like, yeah, I want him to suspend him, want him gone? Or are you on the lines of, no, I want to see him play. Bring your best and we'll still beat you. Speaking of beating you, with Game 5 tomorrow night, we do still have home court, Spurs fans. Let's look at the positive here. The next 3 games, or next 2 out of 3 games are in San Antonio. And at this point now, I do think this is going 7. This has been a very tough series. It's going to go down to the wire like a lot of these games have. And I still see the Spurs winning 4-3 unless Wemby's suspended for Game 5. I think the Wolves could take it in 6 at that point. I hope I'm wrong on that too. I'm being real with you guys. Look, I'm not gonna glaze the team and lie to you guys and say, "Oh, Spurs are gonna win." I'm nervous about this series now, but we still have home court advantage, and we can win without Wemby if we don't have him Game 5. But dang, it's gonna be tough, and the guys that haven't stepped up are gonna have to step up in an absolutely big way, no matter what happens. Whether the Spurs win this in 6, or the Wolves win this at 6, or it goes a full 7, which I think is gonna go a full 7 now. Question I also have is, what is going to be left of either team when they run into the Thunder, who are likely going to have multiple days off when they finish their sweep against the Lakers tonight? All right, that's all I got. I don't want to ramble. Drop a comment. Try to be respectful of one another because I think opinions are going to vary severely on this. So just, that's all I got. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.